Until about 10 or 12 years ago, stock photography was mostly just a sideline for a very small percentage of professional photographers. They'd submit batches of images to their stock library, the library would license those to various clients, and if all went to plan, the photographer would get a cheque in the mail every few months. The library was doing the lion's share of the work, so the photographers were quite happy to pay 50% commissions. For most, it was just a passive sideline to their main photography business, and something they were happy to build up gradually over time. Then things started to change. Photography went digital and stock photography went online. And since then, nearly every stock library on the planet has adopted the same basic online business model. It's a model that's great for the libraries, but not so good for photographers. In recent years, we've seen prices fall through the floor, competition has gone through the roof, and sales have become more and more erratic at even the biggest libraries. And more of the workload now falls on the photographers. The best you can do is submit and wait and hope for a sale to come along, with no real control over the process and little security in your business. Well, back in 1998, a small group of photographers saw what was happening and we decided there had to be a better way. We believed that photographers were getting a raw deal and it was clear even then that it was going to get a whole lot worse. But we did see huge potential in the internet and its ability to market our work directly to photo buyers anywhere on the planet. In a world of digital photography, instant communications and global markets, it made sense to us for photographers and photo buyers to deal direct. As we set out to implement this alternative business model, one of the first surprise advantages to emerge was the fact that the direct contact stock library doesn't need high-res files. Since the photographers handle the sales, low-res previews are all that's required for the library. Even today, I'm still blown away by how much time so many photographers spend carefully prepping thousands of high-res images for their stock libraries. So getting back to this new business model, we still promote the library as a whole, and buyers still find and choose your images in the library as they would anywhere else. But where it all changes is at the checkout. We have a price calculator built into the system that you can enable if you like. When you do that and the buyer finds an image, they enter their usage details to determine the licence fee, and if they accept that offer, you'd simply make contact to arrange payment and delivery. Now, some photographers like a little more control, so they disable the calculator and they work out their prices manually instead. The buyer is still prompted for the same usage details. This time the details are sent to the photographer who responds with a quote. Again, if the buyer accepts, the photographer arranges payment and delivery. Either way, the photographer pays zero commissions. So by now you can see that the photographer is investing less time and effort to make the sale and they're keeping all the proceeds. So less work for more money. But it gets even better. With the direct contact approach, you're also building your own targeted list of photo buyers. Clients you can go back to any time you like with new photos or even just new ideas. It's probably the single biggest advantage of our system, and it's also the single biggest shortfall of the traditional stock photography business model. Without a client list, the photographers are forced to continuously chase new business without the opportunity to leverage their previous sales and connections. So a major priority of our business model is to help you build a targeted and responsive list of photo buyers who need the subjects you like to shoot. When you do that part right, it's like money in the bank. Your client list becomes an asset you can turn to any time you like to generate new business on demand. But as good as that might sound, it's still not a viable business model because every business has to have some strategy in place for generating new leads. In traditional stock, you'd simply wait for your library to bring in photo buyers who need your subjects. While that used to work okay for a lot of photographers, in the current marketplace, it's more wishful thinking than sound business strategy. Competition between libraries is enormous, and competition between individual photographers in those libraries can be steep as well. So the submit and wait photographer is not only left hoping the appropriate buyers find their way to the right library, they then have to hope those buyers find the right images. So our business model utilises something you probably won't see anywhere else. We call it content-based photography marketing. The short version is, while most stock libraries focus on marketing their website as a whole, we also market specific image content. And because search engines can't see photos as such, we make sure your content is published with relevant written content in a way that's particularly attractive to the search engines. Here's how it looks. You submit a set of related photos, and we encourage you to work with batches of tightly focused material. It's not only more efficient that way, but also gets you the fastest results. Those images then go straight into the library database and are immediately available for our visitors to find, view and license. Then you add the entire set to a lightbox. This is just a simple display option, and it only takes a minute or two to set up. These light boxes get listed in Google and Yahoo, usually within a day or so, and the concentrated content means they usually rank extremely well in the search results. So a buyer searching Google for photos of XYZ arrives on your page looking at a set of photos of XYZ. So it's really no surprise that the conversion rates on a good light box can be exceptional. You'll also notice that this approach directs the buyer straight to your page, bypassing the library search engine and the competition you'd have faced there. Okay, after the Lightbox, you select 12 of the best images and you add those to a gallery set. Here you add a little more information to your photo captions and you basically create a mini photo essay in slideshow format. Again, this only takes a few minutes, but it creates another content-rich page for your personal website. These get considerable exposure to our browsing visitors, and they also rank quite well in the search engines. Again, they're delivering highly targeted traffic directly to your pages. And the final step is you post a short announcement on your blog. Even if you're not a writer, it's fairly straightforward, just a couple of paragraphs giving the who, what, where and why of the photo set. This third step leverages the power of social media and generates even more exposure for you and your work, and again delivers leads straight to your personal photo content. So with these 3 extra steps, you generate 3 different kinds of visitor traffic, all delivering quality visitors to your personal pages. With just 15 to 30 minutes extra work per subject, you add both on-site content and off-site traffic generation. It continues to work for you 24/7, hands-free, forever. Now, a lot of photographers would be happy to leave it there and just rinse and repeat with more and more photo sets until they build up the numbers to a point where they're getting the leads and sales they want. But that can take a while, and few people can afford to invest that sort of time and effort without a reasonable return. And the only way you can guarantee a return these days is if you stop chasing photo sales and start building a complete photography business. So here's how we'd go about converting that simple stock photo selling system into a real business. For starters, it's still built around the standard stock library approach. You submit your work and you get the semi-automated photo sales or the hands-on quote requests. Plus you also get photo requests. That's when buyers can't find the images they need in the library, so we send out a general request for everyone. Plus you can even pick up photography assignments from time to time. So all that's going on more or less hands-free as soon as you start adding your images to the library. And of course you're ramping it up by completing the content-based publishing process as you go, ensuring you're well listed in the search engines for each of your key subjects. This delivers targeted traffic to your search engine optimised lightboxes, generating new sales and acquiring new clients for your personal client list. Now pay close attention to this next part. It's probably going to look a bit complicated at first, but trust me, the process is quite simple because you're only ever working on one set of images at a time. We call these the proactive marketing steps. They're entirely optional, but they also give you the ability to create sales on demand, so it's no surprise most of our photographers swear by them. If you've been following along by now and wondering whether or not you would actually make sales with this system, then this is the game changer, because this is where you take control of the marketing and physically send people to look at your work for yourself. So you're no longer dependent on anyone else for new business because you can generate it for yourself on demand. See if you can picture this lot in action. First up, when you make a lightbox, you take a few extra minutes to find a couple of prospective buyers who might be interested in the subject matter, and you send them an invite to check out the images. There's a few tools you can use to find these buyers, but my favourite is the Photographer's Market Guide. This is an annual listing of some 1,600 photo buyers, where they tell you the exact subjects they need and how they want you to contact them. Most photographers will easily find a couple of hundred prospects in the book, so then it's just a matter of preparing custom lightboxes and showing the buyer exactly what they tell you they want to see. Some of our photographers have been doing this a couple of times a week for several years now, and they've made some amazing sales in that time. One of the best so far was a single sale where the buyer bought all 40 images in the lightbox at first viewing. Others have picked up multiple image sales, and many have secured lifetime clients from a single email invitation. As you build your client list, you can also invite your existing clients to view your work this way. Anytime you add new content, it's relevant to the buyer, just send them an invite. I'd actually suggest you take it a step further and create individual custom lightboxes for each client. Rather than sending the same lightbox to 10 clients, take a little more time and create a private custom lightbox for each. That way you can really personalise it and even refer to them or their company by name on the web page. That alone can make a big difference to your response rate. This approach can generate photo sales on demand from new prospects and repeat sales from your existing client list. Private lightboxes are also a powerful tool for anyone who photographs special events, sports events, even weddings. You can be paid as per normal to cover the event, and as a value add, you send the client a lightbox so they can choose the enlargements they want. You ask them at the same time to share the URL with the attendees, or you can hand out the URL yourself at the event and significantly increase the number of sales you make. We've got photographers using this approach with great results for weddings, parties, sports, especially kids' sports, business functions, charity events, you name it. Your imagination is the only limit. You can get more proactive in your marketing with your gallery sets as well. Many photographers know the power of offering both photos and words as a package, and the gallery format makes them particularly attractive to editorial buyers. If this suits your style of work, you should always share your new galleries with all your client list as well. And again, we've seen some excellent sales over the years of various photo essays. The business model is also designed to encourage people to share your content socially. So you should use every opportunity to tell your client list and your social network about every new set of photos you add. Now, I know a lot of photographers use social media already, but my experience is very few really understand it. The fact is, if you use it well and build up a solid following, most of your network will not be photo buyers. But that's okay. The trick with social marketing is to engage an audience who are interested in your content. And for photographers, that's generally going to be based on your subjects. So for example, if you're an equestrian photographer and you develop a large social following, most of the people on that list are going to be interested in horses generally, rather than your photos of horses in particular. And the fact is, there simply won't be too many people among them who buy horse photos commercially or even regularly. But again, that's okay. The power of social media is that people connect with people with common interests. So if you regularly publish content that interests your followers, they will share it with other people with similar interests. And you never know when one of those new additions might turn into a lifetime big spending client. In the meantime, your profit model should have options for generating revenue from everyone else. And that's where the online fulfillment companies are fantastic. Currently, our photographers can connect their content with Redbubble or Zazzle, either of which will print your photos onto a variety of prints, posters, products, and ship them directly to your customers. Your imagination is the only limit here. Big sellers include calendars, canvas prints, coffee cups, 100 different clothing lines. The list just goes on and on. The important thing is you can add valuable retail revenue stream to your business with minimal work and cash in on that huge proportion of your visitors who aren't commercial photo buyers but have an interest in your subjects. And because you have this retail strategy built into the package, it makes even more sense for you to encourage your following and your client list to share every piece of content you publish. Each new photo set produces a new cycle of social media exposure, attracting a whole new wave of visitors. And in a market where pretty much anyone could be a buyer, either commercial or retail, it makes a lot of sense to take these few extra steps to keep getting the word out. Every single visitor you attract this way could generate any of these revenue outcomes. More importantly, every new piece of content you publish, every social media share, every repost, they all have the potential to get you listed high up in the search engines for your key subjects. So over time, you can come to dominate the search engine listings for your subjects. So when a potential buyer is searching for photos of XYZ, instead of seeing a mix of results with your name in there somewhere, they could see a page where the majority of the listings are referring to this one photographer, you. When that happens, the immediate perception is that you are the go-to photographer for that subject. It's called a Maven effect, and when you back it up with strong photography that they can use, the buyer is yours for life. They're more likely to buy your images, they're more likely to bookmark your pages, they'll think of you every time they need images of that subject, they'll share your content, and they'll refer you to their colleagues. It's specialist photography taken to a whole new level. The final feature of this whole business approach I want to cover is regeneration. Every single sale, every single lead, every single social connection, this system is designed to redirect them all back into your client list or onto your social following. With our direct contact model, even when a sale doesn't eventuate, the lead still adds value to your business. Obviously, adding new names to your client list is a priority, but even adding new leads to your social network will in turn generate new leads and new business. So I'm hoping by now this is starting to look like a much more substantial and a much more viable way of doing business online. Just to recap, with traditional stock, you've got all the work of prepping high-res images, you've got no control over prices or licensing, and you're forced to wait around for the library to make you sales. You're paying 50% commissions on the sales you do make, and while it's hands-free, once your photos are submitted, you really are paying a substantial price just for the opportunity to submit and wait and hope for sales. With the GlobalEye model, you're only submitting low-res images, so right from the start you're saving time and building up your catalogue a whole lot faster. You keep total control over prices and licensing, so you no longer have to surrender control of your work or your business. You pay zero commission, so you get more cash in your hand for every sale. You do deal with the clients, but that only happens when there's a sale on offer, and it's nothing compared to the time you'd be putting in prepping high-res images for a traditional stock library. Most importantly, you have access to proactive marketing tools so you can virtually make sales happen on demand. You get a business platform with multiple revenue streams built in, which means you have greater stability and enhanced earnings power. And because so much of our platform is automated, it's a perfect complement to your existing offline business. So by now, I guess it's time for you to start thinking about your own business plan and what you really want from your photography. No doubt you're here because you want to make some money selling your photos, but you really need to think about the how and the why of it. Is your goal simply to sell a few photos, or are you here ready to start building a photography business? If you're ready to build a business, then it's time to act. Your account has been approved and it's ready to go, so just enter your registered email address below, we'll retrieve your details and we'll get you started straight away. Thanks for sticking with us to the end, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.